It is insane how little happens in this show. It legitimately is worse than Ahsoka. Last episode accomplished nothing, and this one, the penultimate one, also accomplished nothing. Do they realize they're not writing a full show? You know what? Now is not the time. You click to hear my reaction, and of course, my post-episode rant. So here goes, and subscribe for more, I guess. So now we're getting the other flashback. That's weird. They're going to introduce a whole bunch of new information. I mean, we already know what they're going to tell us, but they think a whole bunch of new information and then give themselves one episode to resolve it all? Alright. Kelnaka's prospecting. Why does the Force make noise now? That was never a thing outside of video games. Also, they actually made Soul less creepy in this flashback. He just, happened upon them. He wasn't stalking them at all. Friendly reminder, this stone structure is gonna burn down. Wait, that means we're gonna get to see magic fire in 3 of the 8 episodes in this show, if you include the space campfire from the first episode.
Get up.
Remember the witches called the Force the Thread, even though it's just the Force? And they try to make it seem like they had a realer understanding of it than the Jedi? Well, the Thread is clearly pretty weak if you can't sense a powerful Force user 15 feet from you.
A Force cult here.
I think they're witches.
Night Sisters.
Besides, Night Sisters don't raise younglings, let alone train them.
Wait, what? I'm no expert on the Night Sisters, but why don't they raise and train young? How do they not just die out then?
What if the girls are in danger?
If you're trying to recontextualize the Jedi as in the wrong, not doing a great job of it a quarter of the way into the episode. Soul is still clearly the good guy.
I'm going in alone. It's too risky to go in as a group. They'll take it as a threat.
We should go as a team.
Fine. But we must be vigilant.
Wow, for Andara supposedly being higher ranking than Soul, she is giving no pushback to him whatsoever. Trinity kind of a wuss.
Tobin.
Yep, I remember how the witch possessed the teenager. Thanks for reminding me though, I might have thought they weren't so bad otherwise.
Ask me.
I can't believe this is working on him.
Kneel.
She's so evil.
You cannot deny that Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans. With your permission, of course.
Wow, how much of this is going to be directly replayed from episode 3? We really haven't seen much of anything new aside from how Anesthesia, or whatever her name is, possessed Torben.
We appreciate your cooperation.
I don't know what Torben did that he felt such strong regret for that he chose to drink poison, but after he got possessed, I just have a hard time accepting that it was really that bad.
Testing the twins is not something we can take seriously. Osha's too old to join the order.
Wait, what? So if you're not going to train them, what's the plan? You're just going to take them from the Witch Coven and drop them off somewhere?
Then who is protecting this child if not the Jedi?
Yeah, that feels like maybe it should be part of the Jedi's job.
In this test, you must divine what images appear on the testing screen.
What do you want me to do?
She literally just told you.
But your children, how can you become the leaders?
I don't.
She gotta ask the most reasonable question. This is why kids can't make big decisions for themselves and why this coven is so messed up.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Can I go now?
She didn't explain anything. I know I talked over it, but I was listening. She didn't explain anything.
There are other children there?
Thousands like us.
Nothing is happening in this episode. This might even be worse than episode 6. This time it's literally all just recycled from a previous episode. I mean, we're halfway done. They better really ramp things up the back half of the episode.
They will not sanction bringing the twins to Coruscant or separating them from their coven.
But there's something dangerous about those women.
The council really doesn't have any ideas for what to do about the witch coven that is possessing Jedi on a whim?
Interfered too much already.
Will they let us come home at least?
No.
Why not? What, do they have to stay here with the creepy witches to study this virgins or whatever?
But Osha passed.
After you coached her.
Coached her?
Do not alter this.
He just freed her from the shackles of her cult that was forcing her to lie. How is that coaching her? It's not like he mouthed the words to her. She can obviously use the Force, which I thought was the purpose of that test.
The twins were artificially created?
Maybe by tapping into a power dense enough to split.
That type of power.
I'm trying to care about the undermining of Darth Plagueis and Anakin and the Phantom Menace, but I'm really struggling with this show.
The proof. This is our ticket home.
Stop him!
What is his deal? Why'd this clown get brought along anyways? He's like Sabine. He should have been left home and sent back down to youngling training.
I want to be a Jedi, Mama. I do.
Stop showing me recycled footage. They can't write a TV show. Literally, they don't have the imagination to come up with 8 distinct episodes.
She has chosen it. It's what she wants.
You would sacrifice.
She is a child. And so here's the shocking twist that the book was just a red herring, that May didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Okay, I'm done.
I told you we cannot use violence.
We cannot use violence? Your first instinct was to possess the teenager when they showed up. What are you talking about? Wait. It actually was May? It legitimately was a magic stone-burning fire started by May that burned down the fortress and almost killed Osha? So then what did the Jedi do wrong? Did they just kill all the other witches for funsies or something?
You wish to know if we will allow Osha to join you. To be raised by an institution instead of a family.
Yeah, because my family performed rituals with chanting when I was a kid. That's what families do, not institutions. Not cults. Why did you need the blood work to think to ask how they were created? That was all of our first question from the moment we saw no men in this coven. What in the world? What is happening? Yeah, no, that seems like a perfectly reasonable response.
I was going to let Osha go.
Really? Was that going to be your way of telling them Osha could go? By turning into spooky black mist? Seems like words might have been a better option. I'm so sick of this stupid choreography where they think it's so cool to have the Jedi not draw their lightsabers. It's not cool. She has a stick. This fight should be over already. Yeah, that's what you get for not drawing your lightsaber.
Fight me!
Attack me with all your strength. Wow! So May really did bring down the whole temple. Oh my gosh, they have an entire team of witches to possess Kelnaka? They're so evil!
Kalaka! Kalaka, no!
Kal-El, no. Hey, we get to see Carrie-Anne Moss being cool for 1 second. That's good. What? They all died? Did Carrie-Anne Moss kill them all remotely, or was that just like a side effect of freeing Kelnaka? What just happened? So the Jedi didn't cut those women down. Okay. I'm so confused. Either you gonna try and jump? Save your own life? No? So that's Soul's sin. He was struggling to hold both their platforms while they just stood there and yelled each other's names across a small chasm rather than doing anything that resembles self-preservation. And because he couldn't save both of them, he opted to concentrate his efforts on the one not completely psychopathic, and May fell. Okay, I'll talk about that at the end. There's no time right now.
Kelnaka, send a message to Coruscant.
Not gonna tell him what to say.
I warned you not to interfere,
I wanted the twins to be safe.
with no thought of the consequences.
Am I crazy? Am I the only one who thinks Soul didn't do anything, like, super bad? I can't be, right?
What will we tell the council?
We will tell the council the truth.
May burned down the witch's fortress, and everyone was lost.
I must face the council.
Why would you do that to her? You take away her dream as well?
What?
Or you
Why?
find yourself
What?
at the mercy of the council.
I'm so confused right now.
You made
This needs to end so I can air out my thoughts.
What happened?
They started a fire.
Why is the show acting like that's a lie? It's not. Oh, thank God it's done. I don't know what this music is that's playing in the credits. Mute this crap. What was that? That episode was a solid 75% recycled footage from episode 3. So, the 4 Jedi have this cover-up from the council, but what are they covering up? Why can't they tell the council? I thought the goal of the second flashback was eventually, when it came, going to be to make us think the Jedi were the bad guys. And towards the end of the episode, I kind of came to the conclusion they weren't actually trying to do that. And this was just a filler episode. But it seems clear the show does actually think it painted the Jedi as being really not good here. And how? May actually did start the fire. It wasn't the Jedi after all. There was no twist there. So May is the one that burned down the entire fortress. All the dead witches died because they banded together to possess Kelnaka and Carrie Ann Moss just stopped them. Anesthesia is only dead because for some reason she started to turn into spooky black smoke. After they had seen her possess Torben, rather than just telling the Jedi, yeah, it's cool for you to take Osha. Information she decided to hold on to until she was about to die. And Soul chose to save the girl that didn't try to kill her sister when it became clear he could only save one because the two had no sense of self-preservation. What did the Jedi actually do wrong? The absolute worst you could say is that Soul and Torben unnecessarily, escalated things a bit. But like, why is that grounds for them to cover this up? There are 2 cover-ups in this show, and the one covering up the return of the Sith is way worse than whatever this is. What would Soul's punishment have been beyond just a slap on the wrist, and maybe he'd be kept off big missions going forward? Maybe he'd have to stay on Coruscant and train younglings. Oh, wait a minute, he was doing that anyways. And I don't even think the Jedi Council would have punished Soul at all. Especially after he told them, well, I was trying to get these 2 young girls out of this witch coven because they were performing weird marriage ceremonies on them. Remember when Obi-Wan said the Jedi were the guardians of peace and justice? I feel like that would fall under justice. I don't know. And oh my gosh, I just remembered. May broke the lock and said no one gets in or out. So they actually would have died anyways. May would have burned them all down. The Jedi actually saved one person. There is 1 survivor instead of 0 because of the Jedi. Why did this episode get put at number 7 of 8? They think they have a bunch of new conflicts that are going to need to be resolved. Let's just break down what needs to happen in episode 8 to wrap up this season. Osha needs to learn the truth. I'm saying truth with air quotes, you can't see them, but they're there, because she really does already know the truth. Nothing much was different from Soul's perspective. So Soul and Osha need to have a confrontation in episode 8. Green Lizard Lady Jedi, who seems like she was probably Smilo Ren's master. Yeah, I guess I'll call him that too. The whole internet is. I say she was probably his master because the scar on his back looks like it would have come from a whip. And she's obviously got that stupid whip saber. So she needs to track down Smilo Ren, and they have their confrontation. Osha and May need to have their face-to-face. Lesbian Mom 2 isn't dead, and I don't think so, at least. So maybe she'll show up. Maybe she's actually Smilo Ren, who knows? And they need to resolve how all of this gets covered up so Kiadi can still be an ignoramus in the Phantom Menace. Do you think they can do all that? Seeing as how they accomplished literally nothing in the last 2 episodes combined, I think the answer is obviously absolutely not. But they're gonna try, and they're probably gonna think they did a stellar job. And I'm gonna suffer through it. And then I'll finally be done. And when it's all said and done, and we all hate this show because it's absolutely terrible, we'll all be labeled racist and sexist and all of the ists and phobes they can think of. But whatever. Subscribe to join me for the sweet release of the end of this terrible show.